I wanted to talk about basically the container, the circle, how to create the circle,
Okay.
how to open it and how to close it, basically the beginning and the end. Those I think are very crucial, very important points. And when I thought about that, I had this, and it's really funny because we have been drawing. And I had this image, it's like drawing a circle. So I have to start at one point and I have to choose my point very specifically. How do I start? And then I have to keep the same energy and the same balance and the focus on this whole form to end at exactly the same point to make it.
So it's led by intention.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be led by strong intention. Yeah, very strong intention. And so that is like, I think one of the most crucial things at the beginning and the end, they have to fit together. And then in the middle, you basically try to keep the energy flowing in this direction from the beginning to the end so that it can come back together, so that it actually can create a circle in the end. And I find there are a million ways to do that. Of course.
Oh, certainly. I have, we spent a lot of time around stand-up comedy circles, and one of my favorite things in the whole world is a callback joke or a joke that comes full circle. It's like, it's an art form if you can lead something like humor in a circle with a beginning and an end, and it has a tie back where it fits together. It's one of my favorite things of what you're talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Cool. It's a good analogy for sure. That would be something like that in just a different way. Yeah. So when I thought about that, I realized I have probably, I don't know how many different ways, but I've tried a whole bunch of different ways, and I always try to do something new. So I don't have my beginning ritual that I do all the time. I think it's feasible to do that. I think it's totally okay to do that. And that kind of can create, in a way, a feeling for the women that come that is familiar. You know, it's like, oh, this is the beginning ritual. Okay, now the circle starts. So it can be very useful to create something like that. For me personally, because every circle is so different and we meet in different places and there's always different people, I tend to mix it up, and also I go with how much time I have and how much time I want to spend on this part of the circle, because you can literally go from, I don't know, like as an example, for example, you can start with an no, just like a sound, just like something that brings everyone in the same vibration, that brings everyone in tune with each other. And this can be a profound beginning and is super short, and this can open and close the circle. And then if you, for example, just have an hour and a half or something like this, I would definitely go with something quick like that. I would not spend 15 minutes on opening the circle. If I have 3 hours, I may spend a half an hour on opening the circle, because just for the fun of it, just to make it a big, like, meaningful ritual, you know, and have everyone pour water and smudge each other and do things like that, you know. So you can, I think it's like up to everyone. In the beginning, I tried to like create my own little process, and it's always kind of in the things I do. But I've been changing around a lot. So what I do, for example, is visualization is one, I think, really good way to open a circle, or like a meditation even, where everybody just calms down. I think like the most important part is to slow down, because you're stepping into a different energy. you want to step into a different energy. So you want everybody to basically take a break from this whoa everyday life, you know, and from like chitter chatter and do this and that. You want everybody to come back to themselves, come into the body too. And so yeah, visualization where I like to do, for example, I did that when we had the online circle, because I thought it's kind of nice to do a little thing. We're not in the same space, so it's kind of different. For me, it was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do with that?
It gives you a different
so I did a visualization where you just imagine a circle around yourself. And I think it's really nice to use the symbol of the circle, or like the archetype, the form, the shape of a circle in this.
Yeah.
So in that, I was just, you know, imagine you're drawing a circle around yourself. And that can be you're creating the space. I mean, basically, you know, you want to create the space, and the space is a circle.
Yeah.
So if you visualize a circle in any way, you can visualize how the sun goes around you. This is one thing that I really love, because it's so like you can grab it, you know, it's very, everybody knows it, it's there, the sun moves around us and creates this circle around us. And you can, yeah, imagine, you know, the sun is in front of you, it's in the south, it's like where the light is the brightest, and then in the end it's in the back of you, and it's in the north, and it's like where it's dark. So you can infuse those with as much other information or other ideas as you want. No, you can really make it a story, or you can just make it a really quick, okay, imagine you're drawing a circle on the ground around you, and you sit in your circle, and this is your space.
I like that you said that you can do anything from just something simple to something a little bit more involved, because as a creative person, I often do feel like I need more involvement, because symbols come to me that way, or interpretations come to me. And then sometimes I just need to chill out and hurry and get into my zone. And so it's easy to just turn on that simple visualization as well. And I think it makes people feel safe that there's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I think so too. And plus, like, I mean, if you are part of a tradition, for example, you can follow whatever the tradition says. I am not really. I mean, I'm from Europe, and I have definitely pagan roots probably. And like we have, I don't know, when I was a kid, I remember we went in the forest and there was stone circles there. So we have those things like tangibly, you know, you can walk in the forest and there's a stone circle. And of course it has this crazy aura, you know, it has like you walk and you're not sure, okay, how can I even enter this circle, you know, and you feel there's energy there.
Yeah.
So I like to work with the elements. That's like one thing that I do a lot. And in the beginning, I was really not sure about that. You know, I tried to, kind of read up upon all the symbolism so I could call in the East in the right way, you know. But in the end, I think it has to come naturally. Mm-hmm. It's always good to learn more, and it's always good to be interested in things. But I think don't try to write a script.
Right.
That's really an important thing, you know. We had one circle where I started doing the circle, and I had like my idea about how I'm gonna do that, and then one woman was like, no, we got to do it like in a different way because of our tradition. And I was like, okay, then let's, you know, show me how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think like if something like that comes up, I would always, I don't feel it's like giving in. I feel it's like if somebody steps up and they want to share that, I think it's great, you know, they should totally share it. So she was like, okay, now we all turn to the east, and then we say this, and then we turn to the south, and we say this. So it can be done with words. It where you really call in the directions. And I like to call in 7 directions, or at least 5. So at least the 4 directions and the center to connect all the directions to me. I think that is very important, because otherwise I feel like, okay, there's a circle, but it's kind of isolated. So it needs to connect. You need to be part of the circle as the 5th direction. And then I like to connect the above and the below. Or actually, that's also one thing. I start with the roots. When I connect and that's like, I know that in Native American traditions, they always start with the heavens. They always start with the sky. But for us as women, for me personally, I feel I have to be rooted before I can open up to the sky.
Okay.
And that is just like a personal feeling in a way. But like, to me, it makes sense, if I sit on the ground and I'm connecting to this world, and I open these 4 directions, and I want to open my heart, I go down into the ground and I root, and then I open up to the sky. And if you follow a different tradition, and there are, you already know the sky has to be first, then that's totally okay, I think. But for me, it's like, it has to be open in a way, and it has to be personal. I also like to work with things, like with symbolic artifacts. I don't know. Like, for example, I did a few times where I brought a feather for the wind, some water for the water, some earth or rocks or crystals or whatever for the earth, and lighting a candle for the fire.
Yeah.
And and then it's kind of like, you can touch it. I like when you can touch the things, when you have a feather in your hand and you think about the air, and you think like, what does the air element have in store for me? What do I wish from the air element? What's the energy that I want to bring in here? So that is another way that I really, really like to open a circle, to go with the 4 elements. And for me, the 4 elements are in the 4 directions, and they are also, I read that it's different here, but I basically follow my European roots, where we have air in the east, fire in the south, water in the west, and earth in the north. Which for me, I don't know, it just makes sense for me. It feels good for me. And this is why I do it. And I think, like, for me, I've recently read a book about Native American tradition with the medicine wheel and the circle and stuff. And the person in the book was kind of criticizing this European 4 directions approach. And, saying that there's a right and a wrong. And that was really like making me insecure in a way, but then I thought, okay, I mean, I can't help it. I don't put any bad intentions in it. I'm not like saying anything is wrong. The way they do it is wrong. Or I just feel like, for me, it just makes sense. If I feel into myself, it's like in the morning, this fresh air comes. This is the wind for me. And in the midday, in the south, there's the sun, and it's bright, and it's like fiery, and this is the fire, So it kind of, and it has to make sense for you, I think. And for me, it's always about getting away from the rules a little bit too.
Yes, I feel like having any kind of rules, or having any kind of temptation for rightness, kind of feeds into a carnal state or a flesh state where we do feel the need to be right about things. So we're always kind of trying to categorize and organize things, and so we're always seeking what is definite right. And I think when you take us into the circle and we go into that other place of self, then there is no right and wrong, and it seems natural to not have rules there.
Yeah, thank you. That's really good. Like, very nice. Yeah. So
Well, and
yeah, it can really be like a little ceremony. And I sometimes, well, I'm not super big into astrology either, but I like to look what zodiac sign the moon is in, for example, when we do the new moon circle. And then, well, because I don't know so much about it,
mhm.
I like to look which element it is. So if we have Gemini, for example, I'm like, oh, airy element. And then we do like a little bit, for example, then in the beginning of the circle, I would focus a little bit more on the airy side and bring feathers, for example, or have everyone smudge each other to just connect to the air element a little bit stronger, to just bring that in a little bit more. Or if we have Leo moon, I would have everyone light their own candle. Usually there would be one candle, for example, in the middle or something. And with a fiery moon, I would have everyone light a candle. Just as a little like symbolic action. And I
Right,
think that
action.
has a lot of impact, just like having a candle in front of you and lighting it and sitting with it for a second, or even passing a candle around, for example. That would be a nice way to open a circle on a Leo moon, for example. Light a candle and have everyone pass this light around the circle, and then you have your circle. It can even be without words. It can even just be an action like that can create this circle space. And this, in the end, it just has to be a way to create a space that's not everyday reality. And all these things, I think, can do that. These little actions can do that. A few words can do that. A song, for example, would be the next one. Singing a song, starting with a song. I mostly sing songs before we start speaking, because I think it's very important to open the throat chakra. And then we have so much stuck, and it's a lot about how do we express ourselves. And then what I love to do is, if I do a meditation, for example, and we connect with the ground and with the heavens, and we go in the heart, the last place I want to end up is the heart. And then have everyone basically in this energy of the heart, and then go up in the throat from there. And I like to say, that every action and every word and every thought should start here. That we stay in the heart for the duration of this circle.
And then it starts a journey.
Yeah, and then it can, journey up into the throat, and we can start expressing ourselves, and we keep coming back to the heart. And yeah, little things like that, I think they can have a big impact, because if you guide someone in a meditation that goes deep into the heart, or that goes to open the heart, and then you start opening the voice from there, it has a lot more impact than just singing a song. No, it's not just a song. It's like, or even not a song. No, I use a lot of songs that don't really have words, for example, especially in the beginning of the circle. I like to sing just, I don't know, hey, or, like,
Yeah.
where the mind is not involved, where it's purely about the sound. And I think that can also have a very profound impact. And you could start your circle like that. You could start your circle with just sound work, just as I said, an om, would
Mm.
totally work,
And
because it creates this kind of vibration in the body.
yeah, for me, it literally physically feels like a rounding of
Yeah.
some kind.
Yeah.
It takes away hard edges of hard thoughts, and it's a softening. That's maybe a creative interpretation, but yeah.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. If you imagine it's the seed sound, and then you have the seed shape is like a circle, the seed sound will create the circle, of course,
I just
know.
That's so funny. I just wrote that down in my journal today about the special relationship of seeds and fruits to circles,
Oh,
and
beautiful.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, for me it would totally make sense. And even like not even just a circle, but even a sphere. So that is the thing that I like to extend a circle into a sphere. Oh, and one cool thing I did one time was a meditation where I invoked a tree in the center of the circle, and we were sitting on the roots and we were covered by the canopy, and that would create the globe around us. No, we're like in this tree space. Yeah.
Right there. I think I've done one like that with you, and it feels home. It feels like home.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all about creating a space, really. And a sacred space, I think, doesn't have to have rules, as you said. It doesn't have to have edges. It Yeah, the most important thing is that it kind of allows a flow, and that's why I think the circle is such a sacred form.
Mm.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's probably all I got for the how to begin. Yes, yeah, many different ways, and I think it's good to just try out different things.
Yeah. Um, for me, it always comes back to there's no wrong way to do it. Resonance within circles, like you were just talking about, when you can create a circle also with sound. You can sort of visualize that resonance being a sphere around you. um, to me, that sort of seems embryonic. Like when you're a brand new baby in the womb, that's your first experience is sound, and the container of it within whatever parcel you're in. Um, and I don't know. There's just this really nice, comfortable connection
Mm-hmm.
to sound and the spheres that we're talking about.
Yeah, that is true. Very beautiful. Yeah, I mentioned the feather for the air and the fire for the water. Then maybe I'm going to mention the other ones too. Uh, So for the water, what I did a few times is, for example, well, I make flower water, which I really love to do.
Ooh,
And
I'm
it's
intrigued.
very simple to do. You put flowers in water, wait a little while, take the flowers out, and it smells like flowers. And if you want to keep it, you put a little bit vodka in it, and then you have a flower water that stays for a little while, and you can like put it in the sun and stuff. I mean, there's like, people that do it in elaborate ways, but I think you can just find flowers and put them in water.
That sounds fun, especially this time of year when things are starting to bloom. Roses are.
Yeah, it's a springtime thing for sure. I really, I can't wait for the flowers to come. Yeah. So I did that a few times, made a flower water. And well, I also like I sing a song to my water, or I put a prayer in my water or something like this. So you can do stuff like that. No, you can bring a water and then sing a song for the water, put a prayer in the water. You can pass the water around and have people anoint each other with it, anoint themselves with it. What They have like flower water in Peru. So when I was in Peru, I learned about that. And there I still have a little bottle of flower water that was sung into by one of my healers, like a curandero, no? And he was like singing into the water, and then you would put it on your inside your hands, on your heart, and on your forehead.
Oh.
So yeah, sometimes I put some on my womb, you know, it's like or I just offer it to the circle, to the women to feel into it, you know, to see if they feel like putting it anywhere. So I'm not like, you have to, you know, just this is where it goes. It's also like, it has to feel like it, you know. If you feel like your heart would need some healing, then you can put the healing water on your heart, for example.
Right.
So I think that is a very beautiful way to get in touch with the water element. And then the earth, of course. For the earth, there's so many ways too. It's really, yeah. So if you have an earthy, for example, like a Virgo moon or something like this, one beautiful way is to do a silent prayer. And that is, well, I like to literally like have either everyone bring dirt from where they live, like just a handful of dirt, and then put it all together in a bowl, and then everybody grabs a handful of that bowl, and then you just stay with that.
Wow.
Silently pray. And for me, it's like you just have a conversation with the earth, you know, and everything that comes from your heart that you want to communicate at this moment, or that kind of just comes out. It's like the old prayer. I read like in a Facebook post or something, like I think somebody said that, you know, that's the old prayer. It's like you and the earth, no words, nothing on the outside, just a silent prayer. And I think this can go so deep, you know, if you really get into it, and if you really just like have this, and especially if you feel it in your hands, you know, if you actually have some dirt in your hands, it can have such a profound impact, and it can create such a holy feeling, really, you know. So that's like you really connect with the ground. And then what you can do with that is, for example, put a tiny little bit of water and make a mud, and then put some mud on your forehead or something, you know, to kind of give you the mark, if you want to do stuff like that. I mean, those are all like little playthings in a way, you know, but they can help to create this space, and they can help to create this feeling of this is a special moment, and we are tuning in to this element right now. And then you can like create your circle from there, you know, and everybody has the same, yeah, they just communicate it with the earth, you know. And this is like the story is starting from there, you know. Last time I remember we started about, you said something, unfortunately, after we turned off the camera, that was really beautiful.
The relationship of story to circles, how there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and how everything conceivable happening in the universe is a story of some kind. And when we step into the circle, we're consciously making the effort to engage with that circle.
Yeah, we create this story that's in the circle, and that can, you know, and that's just like in this one moment, in this one like short period of time, and we connect to something bigger, really, in that. And I really believe that, and I really feel that, like when we sit in circle, we connect to something that's bigger than just us as a person, that's bigger even than just us as all the people that are sitting there. It's like, and it's beautiful how you describe this Fibonacci spiral, because that would be an example for that, no? Like in the center, it's just me as one person, and then they have the circle where there's women sitting around, and it's a bigger perspective. And then through the circle, it creates in itself an even bigger one that is like bigger than all of us together somehow, because we connect to like we connect to like the earth and the universe and everything.
I was talking about iteration. I was telling you about this dear friend that I had that I collaborated with for a while, who really held on to this idea of iteration, which is in his, I can't remember what, if you make a diagram of it, he would kind of do it in sort of that golden ratio spiral where you would start with one idea and then it would be within a ratio, a bigger idea. And then after a little bit more work, it would be a bigger idea. And then after a little more work, it would be a bigger idea. And so we talked about how nothing had to be permanent the way it was and that there was always room for creation and expansion.
So, oh yeah, with the maybe one more thing that you could try out also with like the, well, I'm, as you see, I like little things. No, I like when it's kind of when you have something in your hand. I don't know, it's kind of like my I like to touch stuff, I think.
Oh,
I like when it's very haptic. I don't know. Do you have a word for that one?
tactile sensory, that's actually what I was going to get to was nothing in nature is a perfect imitation. Nothing perfectly repeats because we're here to sense the differences in all of reality. And when we work with those individual objects, they have their own unique fingerprint on what we're sensing. And it sort of makes a circle a more sensory experience.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
I think about that a lot because I have young children that I'm raising, and I'm constantly trying to help them approach the world with sensory.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
That's our original language, right? That's how we first learn about our surroundings, and we still retain that as we grow. And that's what I was trying to come back to.
That's great. I think, yeah, that is like, so basically it brings us back to a place where that many of us may have forgotten even, no, where we touch, where we're like out of our mind and out of all this like fuss and stuff, where it's not about the words or whatever, where it's really about the, okay, I have this earth in my hand and I feel it, and then what comes up inside of me in this connection. So it's really about connecting. So one thing that I did a few times as well was I have like this giant collection of rocks. So I have, well, here in Lake County, we have obsidian. So often I bring obsidian, and then it's really nice to just give everyone. I love to give little gifts. I'm like a little gift person.
Oh.
At one time I had a little bag of different crystals, like all kinds of different rocks. It was like literally, I don't know, over 10 different kinds of different stones. And I let everyone pick one without seeing it, just from the touch. And then you would, you pick your aventurine, or you pick your rose quartz, or you pick your whatever little stone you picked. And then you could like connect to this one, and see, okay, so what is the energy in it? And this could be done, for example, if you, I don't know, if you like to work with crystals and if you want to bring this into your circle, that would be a really wonderful way. And then you could like just come back to it throughout the circle, with the other things you do. And yeah, it's all about like just getting ideas basically. But yeah, those are some cool ideas I had over the years.
You know what else I like about incorporating those things is that in a way they're constant. And when we come to a circle, we come with ideas in our head, or heaven forbid problems or whatever, and we're consciously trying to leave all that behind. When I hold a piece of obsidian in my hand, I'm thinking this has always been a piece of obsidian. It's probably always going to be, or, its process takes a lot longer than this problem that I'm going through. This is still real. This is still solid. Like the world is here. It exists for me. Things are fine. It's just it's a way of kind of retuning my radio frequency back to everything's fine. I'm just walking the planet that I'm supposed to walk.
That is beautiful. Yeah, it's coming back to the basics too, right? I like that. Yeah, anything that brings us basically out of the everyday, anything can work. Yeah, I think, those are ways to start a circle. And then basically, you think about like, what does the circle hold for you this time? And where do you want to go with it? And maybe we can talk about that deeper in another day, like about, okay, how do I plan what I'm going to do in my circle between the beginning and the end? That I think would be probably a good topic for another extended.
The intention of the circle, huh?
Yeah. So maybe let's get to the end.
Okay.
So what I find the most important of the end is giving thanks, being thankful and having gratitude. And oh yeah, I forgot, well, because I never do it. Like some people like, for example, to invoke spirits, angels, goddesses, anything like that. I don't really do that because I like to work just with the elements. But I think it's totally, I mean, it's beautiful if people do that, you know, and they work with a goddess in a circle or something like this. Mm-hmm. I think it's because I wasn't raised religious. So to me, it's kind of all the same, you know. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have a connection to it. And this is why I don't use it. I mean, sometimes we sing a song that was written for a goddess. I'm okay with that, you know. But I usually don't consciously like invoke the goddess or something like this. But I think, I mean, it's beautiful if people do that. So if you want to do that, please do it. So in the end, you would also give thanks to all the beings you invoked, all the energies you invoked. If I open a circle with like the 4 elements, I would give thanks to the 4 elements, to the directions, to the circle. Like, so basically you've literally come back to your beginning. And yeah, because they have to match. No, like when you draw, they have to match, they have to meet at the same point. So you really consciously want to come back to this point to close the circle. And like, yeah, for me, like the most, I don't know, it makes the most sense is to show your gratitude for for these helpers, basically. I mean, they're all little helpers. I see them all as little helpers, you know. So yeah, you want to come back to that, to whatever you invoked in the beginning. You want to mention it again, at least in the end. Then what I also like to do is hold hands in Maybe no, we can't hold hands anymore. So I was thinking instead, put your hands on the ground and feel the connection through the ground that goes to everyone.
I bet you can kind of feel the vibration.
Yeah.
Even just the audio vibration, I bet you can feel on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing with the is really that automatically you create this harmony. Like at one point when you do it with people, all the voices will harmonize and they will become like this one vibration, and you can really like feel it, how it, I don't know, how it like becomes this where it's not one voice and one voice and one voice. No, it becomes like something bigger.
Yeah.
Like one voice that is made out of all the voices. And yeah, really, and I love to work with sound that way.
To me, it also feels like it equalizes all the voices. So there's no one bigger or smaller than the other. It's all just multiple threads working together.
Yeah, right. And it's like a way to support each other, basically, to have this real feeling of we're supporting each other. It's not about hearing me, you know, or me singing more beautiful, louder or whatever, you know. It's like encompassing everyone. It's really, yeah, like equalizing is a good word for it. So what I like to do is to reinforce the connection, you know? Okay. And that is one way to definitely do that, to feel we are one and we are connected. And even if we open a circle and we all go our separate ways, we are still going to be connected. And I think that is one thing that really creates this happy feeling after the circle. No, it creates this like, oh, beautiful, I'm not alone. No, I'm like part of this bigger whole, and I'm connected to all these beautiful women that are sitting with me. So yeah, I think those are the two things that I find the most important at the end is, yeah, giving thanks and reinforcing this connection that we just created.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean you can make a ritual too. Like if I invoked all the directions, I can invoke them backwards. If I started with the east and then I go south, west, north, I start with the north and then I go west, south, east. And I kind of, I unwrap it again. Or if I draw a circle one way around me, I undraw it the other way around me. Little things like that, it's the same. It doesn't have to be like a big thing. It's just, yeah,
It seems like an opportunity to balance.
yes.
And we're always looking, I personally am always looking for opportunities to balance. And I think that what you just described with the going forward and going back is just sort of like a natural direction to go in, or a natural course of action to take. Like if you start something, you finished it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, yeah, you want to think of how do you finish it? And this can be, I don't know, for example, like blowing out your candle, if you lit a candle, little things like that. They are just to where you have specific moment where you have an end.
In storytelling, we would call it a resolution.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Or an end. Resolution to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Or for example, you have your little piece of earth and you give it back to the bowl of the other, and that's like I like to do something like that sometimes. I just do a prayer with everyone. For example, if we work with the earth, and then I would do a prayer for the earth. Or if we work with the water, I would do a prayer for the water. So things like that, I think they are very impactful, and they can have big meaning.
There's a dance of giving and receiving in that too, it seems like, where the earth has shown up to give you something, some lesson, some gift, and at the end, instead of just taking from the earth, you put something back into it and wish for its well-being.
Yeah, exactly. So I do that, no? When I work with flower water, for example, after the circle, I will give the flower water to the earth, or give it to the lake or to the rivers, or I like to bring, for example, rainwater and then I give it back. Or if I collect earth from everyone, then everyone takes a handful of earth that is mixed with the other earths, and brings them back to their place. And that's like kind of like a sacred, yeah, it's infused with energy. So you can, yeah, if I go to my garden and I take a little bit earth out of that and I bring it to my woman's circle, and when I come back from my woman's circle, I bring my little piece of earth back to my garden and have my own little ritual with it. I think it's nice to offer that to people, to have this kind of, okay, so if you go home, you have your own little ceremony, and you can basically take the circle with you in a way.
Yeah, and it's a reinforcement that you take with you into the world.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, take a little part of the circle into your everyday life and infuse it with this energy of it. I think that is like a beautiful idea to do. Yeah.
So since you've discussed all that, and I had some other questions for you before, but you pretty much just answered quite a few of them on your own. I was asking maybe for the benefit of anybody who might be watching, but now I have a personal question, which is, if you don't mind sharing, what is it that compels you to do this for people? What do you think is the outcome of making this effort in the world to conduct women's circles?
Like this right now, just taking
Oh, if you, I just mean the fact that you continue to offer women's circles, and you continue to lead them, like maybe just say for the benefit of anybody who might be watching, what is the goal of doing all this? Is there a goal?
Well, for me, it started as something that I needed, and I had to make it happen somehow, and there was no other way because I didn't find a circle where I could just be.
I find that
So
very
I think
relatable.
it gives me a lot. Yeah, it's like it fills me with beauty and energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very much about how would you say that? Like stepping into my higher consciousness in a way.
Uh-huh.
Um, like I'm taking on a role that I feel in a way, of course, I give myself, but in another way, it just comes. And especially the more I have people that are wanting to come to the circle, you know, where I'm not, oh, please come to my circle. But people are like, oh, when is going to be the next circle? So that reinforces me in doing it.
You're saying there's a need for it, and you
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
have the ability to do this.
And every time, you know, I have, for example, a new woman in the circle, and she tells me after, oh, I'm so happy, you know, I made it to the circle, and I really, really needed that. That's it. That is like a more reason than I need to do.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You're just walking through going, this is something that's natural and happens, and you happen to be awake to it and a conduit of the ability to do this. And I don't know, I think women seeing other women doing that is important.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, it's like I feel everybody, like every woman has this potential in her.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing special, really.
Yeah.
You know, it is just opening up to it and having the courage to do it. It takes courage, definitely. It's like, yeah. But then also you get so much back, you know. And I mean, I have never had a woman who was like, oh, this circle was terrible. You know, like that just doesn't happen, I think.
Yeah.
And it's also, that would also be more her problem than mine. You know, I mean, I have to take myself back at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly I've had really beautiful experiences, and where I felt, and you know, it was not just something that somebody says. No, I felt it. It's like this has an impact on me, and this has an impact on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not even that I feel like I'm influencing people or it's all me. Of course, it's totally not all me. I mean, it's stuff that happens between us.
Yeah.
That is the thing, you know. I mean, I myself sitting alone can't make a circle happen. No, I need other people to make the circle happen.
Yeah.
And I think once you understand that it's not like an egoistic thing. I think this is what keeps some people from it too, you know, because they're like, oh, who am I to do this? La la. Well, it's not really you doing it. You're just offering.
Mm-hmm.
And the other people need to come, and then it can grow into a circle. But it's not one person that makes a circle.
Right.
It's, you know, it's like no one person can create a circle. Like you need the other people, and you need not, oh yeah, this is one thing I wanted to talk about, why I call it guidance, because I don't feel like I'm what's the other word? I'm not leading a circle.
Oh.
No, it's not like in a circle, for me there is no leader.
Mm.
In a circle there cannot be a leader, because for me leader in itself means that there's followers. And I don't think that in a circle there is no following. In a circle there is coming together. In a circle there is, the energy comes from everyone. So I cannot have everyone follow me. Plus, I
Right.
wouldn't want anyone follow me, It's not about like people living my life or my story or my whatever. It's not about me. That's like the first thing, the very number one thing to realize. It's not about one person. It is about the energy in between. And I always learn things in circle. So I call myself a guide actually because I am guided.
Mm,
I open myself up to higher guidance and I bring that to the circle.
I love
And
that.
I think everybody can do that. And if every woman in the circle comes with her higher guidance, then the magic happens. And then you have like synchronicities. Then you have the one story where every word that somebody else says resonates in everyone's heart. So
Hmm.
then you have this real magic happening. This is when, and that's like the, that's like the cool thing. Sometimes you can really feel like, I don't think like, oh, my friends, they didn't come show up at the circle or something like this, all these people that said they were going to come, they didn't come. No, it's like something brings just exactly the right people together. And
Yeah.
it's not me. It's like something way bigger. And that brings exactly those people that need to hear each other, that need to see each other, that need to feel each other's energies and share whatever they need to share. And I think once you start trusting in that, then it starts just flowing.
I think that was a very important thing for me to hear
Mm.
as a woman because watching somebody go through the process of guiding a circle and doing everything that you just described makes me feel like it's a natural state and um, more women can do it and should feel allowed to do it to
Yeah.
engage in this kind of connection with each other.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I feel, it's like good to take little steps. And maybe it's nice, like if you're afraid to have to lead a circle by yourself, because it feels like something big. Well, do it with two people. I mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be one leader, it's totally not about that.
Yeah.
That's why, like, sometimes when something comes up, I just give it to the other person. Like, for example, when I had this woman who was like, oh, but we start the circle in a different way. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You start the circle. That's totally fine with me. And I think this is one way to prevent any conflict too.
Hmm.
No, it's like I don't have to have it my way. Of course, when I started, I had a plan. Now I have like a kind of idea. Now I go into the circle and I have like volunteers. It's also because I tried out a lot of things, so I have a lot of stuff in my pockets that I can just pull out and be like, oh yeah, let's sing this song, let's do this real quick, let's do a whatever. And so if you feel like it's too big, it's too much, then find a partner, find
Hmm.
someone to collaborate with, lead a part of the circle. If you feel like, oh, I would love to try a guided meditation one day, try it.
Hmm.
you know yeah, I think I want to open this circle more to that too, because right now I feel there are some women that can stand up and do it.
And what can you lose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think like for me, guidance is more a female thing. I know it works, I feel like leading is a very male concept, to have like a leader and everybody follows and they all go in one straight direction, which is good sometimes, if
Hmm.
you're in a boat and you want a captain who knows where you're going.
Yes.
But if you're in a circle and it's about everyone's personal development,
Hmm.
you don't
And the
need a leader.
yeah,
the guide, you know, I can show you all the different places where I have been. It doesn't mean that you have to go there. It doesn't mean that you will have my experience. It means that I offer this to you and I'm there if you need me.
Mhm.
And that's all I do.
That's so great.
Yeah.